So we are live. Welcome to another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show, the show where I bring you champion people with a particular story, people who are doing extraordinary things in their communities, and I call them greatness engineers. So today we're going to meet some young greatness engineers. They are on a mission to make sure that, literacy is something that everybody can have access to. They are young, they are Canadian, and their organization is called Lives for Literacy. So we'll get to know them, we'll get to know what they're doing through this organization, and really see how we can how we can help spread the message that they're going to bring to us today, and how we can help in their mission to make sure everybody get access to literacy. So without further ado, I'm gonna bring them. But first of all, let us know where you're watching from. If you're watching live, and as usual, I ask you to take notes and really to participate and give your insight if you are interested to do that. Just put comments in the comment box, and just join the conversation. But before we get to this stage, let's bring them in, and let's have the opportunity to know who they are, and what they stand for. So don't go anywhere. I'm bringing them now. Welcome to another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show, the show that is brought to you by the Birai Telekima Global Leadership Organization.
Feel is important is if you just look at the word compassion, when it's behavior, it's something that can be learned, and it is something that we can embody through habits and through our daily actions.
Like, what can I do now with this all experiences that that I have? And for me, it's knowing who I am, believing in myself, and trust, and have confidence that yes, this has happened.
To get this idea that if we interject this wisdom intentionally, I call them needle movers. It's the needle mover that's missing.
So welcome to the Greatness Engineering Hour show. It's such a pleasure to have you here today, and I think that's the third show with some young leaders, and I'm always excited to have conversation with the young leaders, to see how they're gonna take over and continue to bring positivity into the world. But before we start our conversation, I just want you to introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, and talk a little bit about your organization, and then we'll get to know through the show what you're doing, and what you stand for, and also what you need, from the audience as well, to make sure that your message and your mission is carried out. So, who wants to start and introduce? Start the introduction. I think you're muted, Yasmin.
I don't mind going. Hi, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank Mariel. Thank you for having Yasmin and I on this platform. We truly appreciate it. So getting started with my introduction is, hi, everyone. I'm Yasmin Farah. I'm the president and founder of Lives for Literacy. And right now I'm studying political science and human rights here in Montreal, Quebec.
Fantastic.
I can go next. Hi, everyone. My name is Arman Lakhu, and I am the vice president here at Lives for Literacy. I am going into my second year of my undergraduate studies at the University of Ottawa, and I'm studying complex studies in human rights.
Fantastic. Who wants to go next?
I can go next. My name is Sian Persad, and I am the Vice President of Events here at Lives for Literacy, and I am going into my final year of my undergraduate degree, doing a double major in political science and health studies.
Fantastic. Welcome, Summer.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Summer Okibe. I'm the Director of Indigenous Affairs at the Lives for Literacy. I'm in my second year of Masters of Law at the University of Victoria here in Canada. My research is on Indigenous law and Aboriginal title and connecting it to my home country, Nigeria, in relation to the Indigenous people of Biafra. Thank you.
Fantastic. So, I mean, you are part of, an organization that is actually carrying quite an important thing, important issue right now, the literacy. So, what brought you to, to do that? What was the breakthrough beyond, setting up this organization, and what is your role in the organization? So, I guess I'm going to start with Yasmin because you're the president, to know exactly, how you started and then what really led you to create this organization.
Thank you. So what made me start Life Literacy was last year in 2020. I was appointed by the World Literacy Foundation Ambassadorship Program nonprofit to represent Canada alongside with Arman. Mm-hmm. So from there we had to we either could advocate or fundraise. So I chose the advocacy method, but that was only for 4 months, and I wanted to do more of an impact rather than just 4 months. Plus, literacy is a really big issue, and it's been even made worse because of COVID-19, as well as it's still today a big problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it was born as so you started first being into a movement, a separate movement, and then you basically realized that you didn't, you were not satisfied with what where you stopped. So you decided to continue because there was a lot more to be done. So that's really good. So what's what about you, Arman? How did you get involved in the project, and why brought you to the project, and what is your role in the organization?
Yeah, so as Yasmin said, I was also a World Literacy Foundation ambassador for Canada. And as we kind of met through there and chatted, we talked about starting Lives for Literacy. And basically, my role here is kind of taking a look at the logistics of the organization, looking at financing, looking at legal aspect of it, and kind of working together with the team. I think one of the most important lessons that I've learned is that communication is so important in our team, in my daily life and everything. And literacy kind of is a barrier to that communication. So I think it's really important that we talk about these issues because they're so important to other people around the world, and it's time we break down those barriers.
So that's really good, and you're right. Communication is key. And for that, the literacy is actually one of the base, where we should start to be able to communicate properly. Summer, what about you?
Great. Okay, so I wasn't part of the pioneers of Lives for Literacy. I actually joined as a volunteer, But one of the things that motivated me to join as a volunteer in the first place was the work that they do all over the world. It was fascinating. So they were advocating for literacy and, focused. The organization was so focused that I could check when they just started and they've achieved a whole lot. So I was, intrigued and I decided to join. Now, my role, I'm the director of Indigenous Affairs, and it's just a new role that started, say last month. And we have a lot of projects coming up. Yeah.
Okay, so that's basically, linked to what you're already doing, and then, it's just amplifying it and then creating, some positive impact in your community as well, where you are in Canada. So,
Exactly.
Sian, what about you?
Yeah, so I joined Life Literacy. Like Summer, I was not like Arman and Yasmin. I didn't serve as a World Literacy Foundation ambassador. And I applied to be their director of events at the time when Life Literacy was kind of birthed during the pandemic last year in August. And I got the opportunity to kind of decide what the programming is going to look like through the organization, all the different types of events we could use, the different protocols we can use. And Yasmin offered me the position of vice president to kind of design more of the overlaying programs for most of the directors, how they can follow through with their events. And yeah, that's how I got involved. And it's been very exciting so far.
Fantastic. So it's always, very exciting to start something. I mean, we all very positive and the energy is, the good energy is out. But what you probably had some challenges, or you're probably starting to have challenges. So what are the key challenges that you're facing right now, either, personal or any, challenges through organization or through the different, interlocutor that you have to talk to, or partners, or if you have any share orders. So what are the key thing you think you still have to work on, and that is still that are still challenging for you? So who wants to to go in? I suppose Yasmin can go in, but it might be different challenges for each one of you. So Yasmin, I'll start with you, and then I see if the rest of the team has some more challenge to share.
Sure, it's not a problem. So since we, as stated for the Lakhu season organization, we really are a big one. For example, we have over 200 plus volunteers from 55 plus countries. So the challenge, but rewarding at the same time, is managing the volunteers because different time zones. So that is challenging, but at the same time rewarding, because you get to meet others when it's your evening, it's their morning, and vice versa. But at the same time, what makes you happy is that seeing them smile, because they become part of your family. So yeah.
So that's good. I mean, and I guess with COVID, you really want to have a global team, but at the same time, it's a challenge. You have to go through the different time zones and the different culture as well. We talked about communication at the beginning, so you need to know how to communicate with your volunteer as well to get the right results. So any other challenge that the team sees? I mean, Arman or Summer San, what are the any challenge that you can add that you see that you encounter in your role in the organization?
I think for me specifically, each day kind of is different. Every day at Lives for Literacy is a different day. We always see new things. We always encounter different challenges. But basically, like Yasmin said, I think it all comes down to there's so many different working parts of our organization. And they're kind of like little gears that all turn together to make this big machine. So we kind of all have to work together and kind of communicate with each other to get things done. And that's the most important part. So it definitely can be a challenge sometimes when, like Yasmin said, if there's different time zones or people aren't checking their phone regularly, it kind of becomes difficult and everything is so virtual right now. But I think we all can work together to mitigate those challenges for sure.
Fantastic. Someone, anything that you want to add to to all of
Yeah,
that, or Sian?
yeah, sure. I would just add that one of the challenges is the academic workload as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been very challenging, So, but what helps me is that I just have to set like reminders, sort of like calendars that I have to know when I'm free, how to, be able to handle different things at the same time. I'm also an
Mm-hmm.
ambassador for World Literacy Foundation, and we
Mm-hmm.
have lots of things to do. And Lives for Literacy is always bringing up different projects. So you can imagine handling different things at the same time. So I would say, combining it with school is quite
Mm-hmm.
challenging. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 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 Sian, anything?
I can only just kind of emphasize everyone else's points in terms of my
Mm-hmm.
perspective running events. Definitely time zone was the initial struggle when it
Mm-hmm.
came to, what is the most appropriate time to host our events, because we have a very large international audience and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
international volunteers who, at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in Toronto is like midnight for them. So they
Yeah.
can't really be awake to join us those events. So finding out, what's the appropriate time for both us and them, that was also
Mm-hmm.
a really big struggle. And also it's the managing, definitely. I have to agree with Summer, especially with
Mm-hmm.
COVID-19 and being online for school and online for
Mm-hmm.
life for literacy. It's almost, when do you get to actually turn your brain off at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day? And when can we walk away from everything? It can be a bit of a hard time to manage all of that, especially when you're
Mm-hmm.
working alongside doing this alongside of school. But it's entirely worth it at the end of the day.
And I really wanted to, to build on, what Summer was saying between the balance with, the work that you do and school. So how do you find, how do you balance all of that? Because it is challenging. I mean, some of you are also, ambassadors for other organization. You have, a key role in Life for Literacy organization, and then you are studying. So how do you balance all of that? What are the, the tools and strategy that you use to be able to stay, very focused, still on your studies?
Well,
Who
I can
wants to
go.
go first?
I don't mind being first. So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, like as a team, we always have each other's back. So we make sure that everyone is well, and
Mm-hmm.
whether it's mentally, emotionally, in any way, we're there for one another. So we
Mm-hmm.
make sure that we text one another saying, "Are you okay? How's it going?" We meet up, we have meetings, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
like having the emotional support or any
Mm-hmm.
sort of support system is essential to managing
Yeah.
as well as yeah.
Fantastic. Any other, any other strategies or tool that, any of you use to be able to either, help yourself, first, or help, any other member of the team to get this the right balance and be, a positive impact for the organization.
Yeah, I can go. I think one thing for me that has really helped, in addition to what Yasmin just said, is kind of just making sure that I'm organized and I have a schedule for everything. Things can definitely get lost in the back of my head. So I think just having everything written down, if I have goals for the end of the week or goals for the end of the month, then I can really accomplish those and check those off my to-do list, which is really a nice feeling at the end of the day. But other
Mm-hmm.
than that, just kind of having a team to rely on, and if something comes up, then I'm always able to just text them and be like, "Hey guys, I can't actually do this this week,
Mm-hmm.
but hope everything's going okay." And everyone, kind of has each other's backs here, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And anything you want to add, Sian, because I think we heard from Summer before. Sian, anything that, different that you do to be able to find this balance that you actually need to be able to, to grow Life for Literacy, because you don't want to be drained, you want to, bring your best. So how do you do that? Anything different?
Burnout is a very scary thing, especially when you're in your bachelor's degree online.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Arman and Yasmin, I don't like to, meticulously plan my day outside of, if I have to be in class or if I
Mm-hmm.
have meetings with speakers or anyone who wants to run a collaboration. So I'll plan my day around where I have to be online and I have to be present and just set goals for what I want to accomplish at the end of the day. And if I don't get all of it done, you know, at the end of the day, I need to go to bed. I need to relax. So things like that, just managing my time in that way, but always prioritizing my mental health first. And it's really refreshing to know that at the end of the day, if, you know, I'm really stressed and I can't make it to something, or, you know, something's come up, or a professor is giving me a hard time with a certain assignment, I can message the team and say, hey, I can't make it to this meeting. Could you just hear my notes? Can you just take care of this for me? And I can rest easy knowing they have my back.
Yeah, you don't want to end up in a burnout, and that's the, you know, that's the key thing. It's good to, you know, to have all this energy, but you don't want to lose it and be burned out at the end of the day. So we're gonna have a break, and we'll, you know, a few minutes, and we'll be back to to have to continue this conversation and know a little bit more about, you know, the project that you have and what you do exactly, and how, you know, it impacts, you know, the especially the youth. So don't go anywhere. For those watching, we going to come back after this video. So we are back. We are back with Life for Literacy team, and as you can see, they are doing some fantastic things all around the world. And my question to you is, you know, what do you do concretely, and what are the kind of project that you're working on right now, and what impact do you see, you know, on the ground, you know, from the work that you currently doing and the project that you're implementing? Start with Yasmin again.
Okay, thank you. So right now we have many projects currently at Life Literacy. For example, we have a Palestine project, we have an interview series, LGBTQ, then we have a health literacy, amongst many others. For example, last year we had a human rights series and again mental health. So with the Palestine project, we are raising awareness about what's the current situation in Palestine, which is very devastating, as we can all agree. And health literacy, we're raising awareness about the importance of health literacy. For example, some they don't know what's in the medication, how to read it, or what anything about it. And the LGBTQ series is because a lot of people see the LGBTQA as individuals that are not human, but in fact they are, and it's really important that we understand that just because they identify as something that is not either straight, but it doesn't make them less of a human. And we also have an interview series where we'll be interviewing either change makers, human rights activists, LGBT from different communities. So yeah, that's our projects. But for example, also the human rights interview series interviews the human rights working group where we talk in human rights in Nepal, as well as mental health. Is going back to what Sian had said, mental health is really something that is really important. and we raise awareness for how important that is. We've held workshops, and yeah.
So that's really powerful, and like you said, mental health is a key issue right now. It's important to create this awareness and make people understand that we all different and we have to respect everybody
Exactly.
difference, and that's a key one right now. So it's really important. Anything that you want to add to it, Arman?
Yeah, sure. So basically, for in terms of my specific role, I just finished working on registering Lives for Literacy as an international organization, which was really exciting. We were able to be recognized by the government, which is awesome. And other than that, I think the projects that we've been working on are mostly taking place on the events team, but we're more of a, I would say, well-rounded organization, kind of looking at different aspects of human rights and literacy, and focusing on issues that are pertinent today, as well as huge issues that kind of have taken place over time. So we're really looking at so many different things in our group.
hmm Which is, I think it's already a lot because human rights is a big one. Is a big one to tackle. So it's quite it's quite sizable. Summer, anything that you want to add, especially with regard to the indigenous, community?
Yeah, sure. So, in relation to my role as the Director of Indigenous Affairs, we intend to start a project next month, which is the Indigenous Issues Workshops. We would have invited speakers, of which, of course, I would be one of the speakers, to talk about the issues that are not addressed or
Mm-hmm.
not taken seriously. Now, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, issues on the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls in Canada and
Mm-hmm.
the traumatic effect of the survivors of the residential schools in Canada. These
Mm-hmm.
are things that we are looking forward to talking about in the coming month. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's been, well, I was seeing on the press lately, there was a big article on that. And those are things that, no, not everybody is aware of, I
Exactly.
mean, we have the same thing in Australia, but I didn't know that, in Canada, they also had, this issue. So it's good to have a group like yourself to really create this awareness and work on, people understanding what are the impact and try to heal, because there's a lot of healing to be done.
Yeah.
Sian, what about you? I mean, you managing all the events, obviously, but anything that you want to add to what your colleagues just mentioned today?
Yeah, in terms of projects, events and collaborations are pretty much what we do in terms of bringing it to the public. I am currently running a 12-part series across the year discussing the different barriers to education around the world. We
Mm-hmm.
have covered gender discrimination, focusing heavily on the experience of girls in Afghanistan. We have done refugees, recent migrants, and asylum seekers, speaking with an amazing speaker, Sharifa Shakira, Myanmar refugee herself. We have discussed what it is to kind of understand education as a human right, and it's what we're
Mm-hmm.
going to do for the rest of the series. In June, we are going to celebrate the benefits to education, in that we are going to talk about following and exploring our identities through our sexualities and celebrating pride as an organization. And of course, there are different types of series that we've done, focusing heavily on mental health. We've run about 2 different mental health series to support students during COVID-19 and give them the opportunity to talk to professionals or just talk to each other about the experiences that they've been having. How is it that we can create better coping skills? And I'm excited that we are going to be doing another set of events in June
Mm-hmm.
regarding that. And we've also started talking more about the different types of literacy. When we first started, that was another project we really wanted to launch. And in 2022, we are going to be focusing heavily on different types of literacy and bringing those presentations to students. But right now, we are focusing heavily on financial literacy, something that students don't really understand, especially young adults who may not have actually learned about taxes, budgeting, savings, all of that in their school. So bringing that to students is definitely what is my main goal and my projects through the events.
Sorry, we had I had some connection issue on my side, so I probably have to ask you to start again. Sorry, Sian.
No problem, no problem. Talking about the projects that the events team run, like I said, we are more the forefront in terms of bringing all of the background work to the
Mm-hmm.
public in through our events. Right now, we are running a 12-part series titled Education is a Human Right, in which we're talking about the different barriers to education as
Mm-hmm.
identified by UNESCO. We are also taking the time to discuss the benefits of education in
Mm-hmm.
confronting biases and activism, such as anti Black racism and racial literacy, as well as understanding and exploring identities through sexuality when we celebrate Pride next month at
Mm-hmm.
the end of June. And we are also doing various series in terms of supporting students' mental health. We've done two so far, and we have another one coming up in June, giving students the opportunity to talk to professionals about
Mm-hmm.
creating better coping skills, creating connections in an online space, and how
Mm-hmm.
to really manage themselves and manage their time and prioritize their mental wellness above everything else. And we are also focusing heavily on financial literacy because that's something students, especially in North America, I find we don't really get the opportunity to learn about
Mm-hmm.
taxes, budgeting, savings. We don't get that opportunity. And, there are so many different amazing motivational speakers and people who are willing to volunteer their time and bring this information to students worldwide. So we're running another series on that starting in September.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I like what you said about, financial literacy. We live in a capitalist world, but there's not a lot of emphasis on that at school. And yet it's the
Mm-hmm.
basis of, whatever we do, every day. And that's very important. I see that you're giving a lot to the community. You're giving a lot of your time and organizing all those events to help people to grow. But what is it giving you back? What are you getting back from all of this? Because at the end of the day, you need to get back something. So who wants to share?
I could definitely go first since
Mm-hmm.
with events, you kind of get the feedback almost right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
When you log into the event, when a lot of people are joining, you have a high number of registrants. I think the most we've gotten has been 65 plus at this point. And it's the excitement on their faces. If they're really active in a Zoom chat, asking questions, making comments. And at the end of the day, when I look back at the post event surveys, we get, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5 satisfaction. Someone the other day commented that it was a perfect event and nothing could change. And just to hear that, to
Mm-hmm.
me, is
Mm-hmm.
satisfaction enough to know that they got something out of it. And, if it is that you stayed up until 4 o'clock in the morning to get everything prepared and you were meeting with the speaker over the course of 6 months, at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, when you get feedback like that and you see people's excitement, it's 100% worth it, and it's all the
Mm-hmm.
satisfaction I need.
Fantastic. What about you, Arman? I see that you want to share.
Yeah, I think just kind of going off of what Sian said, I agree completely. It's such fulfilling and rewarding work to be kind of working with such like-minded individuals, and also being able to kind of just give back to the community. All work that we do here is really rewarding. But I think one of the highlights for me is just kind of learning with everyone else and being able to kind of see how basically an organization is run. I've always kind of been interested in helping others in this kind of work that non-government organizations and different not-for-profits and how they work.
Mm-hmm.
So learning about the structure and how to kind of lead and run this type of organization was really fulfilling to me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Fantastic. Summer.
Okay, picking up from where Arman stopped, there is a reason why it's a not-for-profit organization, which
Mm-hmm.
means we're not doing it for money, we're doing it
Mm-hmm.
for humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal is to give back to the community and not to take from the community.
Mm-hmm.
Aside that is building our leadership skills. And we're leaving a legacy, which is we are advocating for literacy. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, that's fulfilling, and that's all. Right.
And that's powerful, and that's really what I was expecting, is that you do it for humanity, and but at the same time you build yourself, you grow. It's not money, but you grow as a human being, you grow as a leader, you grow as a community, participant, and that's really what it's all about. What about you, Yasmin?
Well, for me, it's what is fulfilling, and for me, is hearing my volunteers saying that this is the best thing that has happened to them. Joining an organization that is very different from their own. For example, I had one volunteer tell me that Rice Literacy is very welcoming. They don't tell you. They don't tell you. They're more inviting. They're more like family. It's not like a hierarchy where there's no personal connection. So getting to know the volunteers, while they learn something, we also learn something from them. So again, going on with Sian and Arman and Summer said, it's all about coming out to humanity. Like we do it not for money, but we get happiness, we get joy, we get smiles. Like every day, like Arman said, is a new day, something new, adventures. Yeah.
That's so powerful what you all said, and beautiful at the same time, because a lot of, especially in the Western world, it's been about competition, about getting rich, and so it's refreshing to see that the young generation is actually thinking about a different wealth, because that's also a wealth that you're building, and that's the most important thing. So let's have another break, and we will come back and continue our conversation. It's really exciting, refreshing, like I said, to to have this conversation with leaders, young leaders like yourself, and see that you have a very strong vision, and appreciate the time that you put to make the world a better place. So let's have a break, and we will be back in few minutes. So we are back. We are back with the team of Life for Literacy. You've had the opportunity to to appreciate, if you've been watching from the beginning, but if you're just joining us now, it's a group of very powerful young leaders who are on a mission to make sure that everybody get access to literacy, and also focusing their effort on advocating for human rights. So one thing that I want to know, it's what do you think has been your greatest accomplishment so far? What was key to make sure that you become the person that you are, and really focus on contributing to humanity and making sure that the world is becoming a better place for yourself, not only but for the generation to come. So who wants to have the pleasure to start?
Okay, I could go. Yeah, so I haven't announced my greatest accomplishment because every accomplishment is great, right? So I'm just going to talk about it now. So I'm starting an online Indigenous law network focused on addressing the Indigenous of Biafra issues in my home country, Nigeria. Now, what was key in starting up this network is very emotional for me. So in 1967, the eastern part of Nigeria broke out of Nigeria and declared their independence. Now, that country was known as the Republic of Biafra.
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria waged war against these Biafrans and in 1970, the war ended with over 3.5 million Biafrans killed. Well, they called it war, but I call it genocide. Now,
Mm-hmm.
it would interest you to know that in Nigeria, indigenous law is not taught in
Mm-hmm.
any university. People are not educated about the history of Biafra, nor are the stories of the survivors of the Biafran War discussed in law schools. So I want to bridge that gap. So to
Mm-hmm.
me, I would say that's my greatest accomplishment so far.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And I know, I mean, I relate a lot with the Biafra, massacre, because a lot of the people from Biafra actually moved to my home country, Gabon. So we have quite a few of, that they're now Gabonese actually. So I'm really, I know what it's all about and what they went through. So that's really a good thing, that you educate people about that, because I don't think especially a lot of African know about this story. So it's important to share and to educate people on such, tragic events, so that they know and that they don't repeat it. Anything that you want to share, Arman, on greatest accomplishment? I know you all still young, but up to now, what do you see as your greatest, accomplishment?
Yeah. Well, I know being one of the younger executives here on the team, I haven't had a chance really to experience much life, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I think up until now, one of my biggest accomplishments is kind of just finding an organization where such like-minded people kind of do such meaningful work. I've always been so into volunteering and kind of serving my community, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Literacy is so important to me, and I hope it's important to those around me. It kind of challenges people to think outside the box on how we can help other people.
Mm-hmm.
I hope one day that I can go and kind of teach English to other people or help other people read who can't read. That's kind of one of my goals for the future after I finish school. But as of right now, kind of just learning as much as I can and kind of taking it all in before I can go and help others is really something that I focus on.
Fantastic. That's powerful, actually. Sian, what about you?
In terms of my greatest accomplishment, I think I can only relate what someone Arman said. Every time I get an event done or I complete a series, I would consider that my greatest accomplishment in terms of, what did people get out of it?
Mm-hmm.
But mostly it has definitely been creating, programming, and, getting to research and getting to work with such amazing individuals around the world to bring to light the issues that impact quality education, and really getting the opportunity to learn what is it to advocate for literacy worldwide and how do we advocate for quality education worldwide, and getting the opportunity to grow my skills in this way and
Mm-hmm.
also connect with such amazing people across the world.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Yasmin.
Well, for me, my greatest accomplishment would be having founded Life Literacy, having met Sian, Arman, Summer, as well as teaching, having taught human rights to students in Nepal, grade 4, over 300 of them. So it was
Mm-hmm.
really wonderful, heart-touching, wonderful to see
Mm-hmm.
these little children, who are very smart. They were engaged in this presentation that we had for them as well. So Orman, and Sam and the rest of the Life Literacy team have become family. So I'm grateful
Mm-hmm.
for that. And yeah.
Yeah, and that's really what it's all about. You become family,
Exactly.
and it's also a reminder to everybody around the world that we all connected. So we should work together, collaborate together to go in the same direction and create a better world for everybody, because we are all connected, and some of us become family, like you in your organization. So I mean, before we leave this platform, just want to know, what is the key message that you want to to give to your to the youngster, people young like you, or even adults, like us, who are in our 50s, and what can we learn from you?
I can start.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most important thing that I've kind of learned from this organization is my biggest takeaway.
Mm-hmm.
Is I would say to make those connections and really use social media and kind of the virtual world to your advantage. I would have never really met Yasmin or any of the people here at Lives for Literacy if I wasn't part of the World Literacy Foundation online, and kind of messaging out and reaching out to people saying, how are you helping the world? How can I help you help the world? And kind of just getting in touch with people from around the world, because we're all so similar, yet we don't really know each other. So I think that's a really important aspect to it.
Mm-hmm. Next, Summer.
Okay, so I'm just gonna take a different tone. I would focus on my message to the audience. So my message is you can achieve anything you want, just stay focused and never give up. Now, ending it with a quote of Oprah, she said, doing the best at this moment puts you in the best place for the next moment. I hope that
Mm-hmm.
sticks in because basically whatever we do now counts. So whatever you're doing right now should be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So don't give up because there will definitely be some challenges. Like we just discussed earlier, that we have so many different challenges trying to
Mm-hmm.
focus on lives for literacy. There are so many challenges, but we didn't stop. We
Mm-hmm.
are still working towards making sure that we advocate for human rights, for literacy, and people get to hear what we have to say. So take
Mm-hmm.
for a second, if we stopped pushing further, what would have happened? Life for literacy is dead. But we don't want to die. We want to keep, moving forward. We want to keep growing. So that's my message to the audience. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yasmin.
For me, I would say my greatest accomplishment, the message to the audience is that to keep on believing in yourself, don't doubt yourself. No matter what change there is, whether it's big or small, if you have that potential to change the world, like it just
Mm-hmm.
all comes down to believing in yourself. And yeah,
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Sian.
And to kind of end this all off, I just want to leave it at you're never too old when you're never too young to find something that you are incredibly passionate about. And when you
Mm-hmm.
find that passion, whether it be, like Yasmin and Summer and Arman, advocating to be a global citizen and advocating for human rights, or it could be something simple like music, finding a love in your own life. It is never too late to find that passion. And the drive, the hard work, the dedication will come with that passion. And you can turn it into whatever you'd like to see.
Mm-hmm. I love, all those messages that, powerful and positive messages. It's and it's still, keep the hope back, because I think in this time of, pandemic and people getting depressed, it's good to bring this positive message so that, they understand that it's not the end, it's actually the beginning, it's, yes, the challenge is there, but it's an opportunity for everybody to start over and to start better. And it has to be done in collaboration. People have to collaborate and use the tools that are available, like Arman said, use the internet, use the social media, because it's available. So just, pivot, even if you've not had the opportunity to do that. So really strong messages to the audience and whoever is going to watch the replay. And it's just refreshing to see that, our young, our children are really, ready, for, to push forward and help us to all go to the next level of our greatness, because this show is really about greatness. So I really want to know, how, people can connect with you, and if there is something that you want to share, an event or a program that you're thinking of, running, and you want the audience to, to know about or to participate if they can.
so you guys can reach us at follow us on our social media platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And if you'd like to volunteer, You can find the volunteer form on those platforms, or as well you can email us at lifefluency.org or info@lifefluency.org. And in terms of events, give it off to my VP of events, Sian.
Yes, Sian,
So
we
many
want to
things.
hear from you.
So many things are coming up in June. It's so exciting. So in June, we are focusing on mental health as well as celebrating pride in all of our beautiful members of the LGBTQS community here at Lives for Literacy. On June 23rd, we are hosting mental health aid counselor and professional Sandra Roldan Pines out of Atlanta, Georgia. She's coming in to talk about understanding our mental health as young adults, as students, and how to create better coping skills in a time like this. And then on the 24th, we are celebrating Pride with a wonderful speaker. I don't remember his last name, Mike Amielli. He is going to be coming in and sharing his viral story of his coming out and how that can inspire a new generation of exploring our sexual identities and being confident in our own skin. And as we wrap up the school year, a lot of volunteers are going to be, taking their summer holidays. They're not going to really be bothered with any of us execs at Lives for Literacy. So we're going to take the time on the 26th, and our wonderful director of volunteers, Leah Brown, she's going to be organizing a small little celebration for them.
Fantastic. So you've all heard everything. If you want to connect with, any of my guests today, don't hesitate. You can go. You can do it through Live for Literacy, and they are on Facebook, on Instagram, and on I presume on all social media platform. So don't hesitate. And if you don't really know how to, you can always come back to me, and I will connect you directly. Otherwise, you can write to them at info at livesforliteracy.org, and then they'll give you more information. We have few messages here. You have inspired some people. Thank you for this message of hope. It really spurred me to keep pushing forward till I achieve my dreams. And again, here I have really learned a lot from this. They really inspire me. So lovely. And then we have Jean from the US. Thank you all for sharing. Very inspiring. So the message is going through. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your inspiration, and for the message of hope, like it was said by one of the viewer today. And I wish you all the best with your mission. And it's everybody's mission. So anybody listening, we are part of this mission. We have to push for literacy. We have to push for human rights, and really, make sure that we create a better world for all of us. So thank you so much for your time. And I will be back for another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show on Friday. And on Friday, we are going to Florida, and we will talk about how to pitch your story and how to sell, without being so salesy. So it's gonna be a good episode again with an expert on sales. So thank you so much for being with us today. I hope you appreciate it, the message, and please connect with my guest if you want to know more about, a bit more about the work that they're doing. They couldn't share everything today, but we shared enough for you to be able to be inspired and continue with them after the show. So thank you so much, and see you soon.
Thank you, Muriel, for having us.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.